What we actually do need LRT.
We don't actually have any public transportation. So what we have is mini bus, which is giving us a lot of problems as well.
In our heart, a spark ignites. Champion for our hearts right. Together we stand. We're the beacon of hope forevermore for the great.
Hello Internet, welcome to another exciting episode of Kopitiam Council, as usual with your hosts Haffis and Adi, coming to you straight from the American Green Corner here at the Sabah State Library. If you ever want to start your own podcast or share your ideas through media, much like Hafiz and I, this is the perfect space for you. The American Green Corner provides everything you need: mics, lights, cameras, and all set up ready for action. This initiative is all about empowering young citizens through education and media creation. And we're excited to be hosting an episode right here. So book your space, the American Green Corner at the Sabah State Library. So what do we have here today, Hafiz?
Right now, you are watching Voices to Action. This is a special 8-episode podcast series brought to you by Kopitiam Council and Sabah Association, body advocating rights. And over the next few weeks, Adi, we'll be diving deep in some of Sabah's most pressing issues like education, healthcare, public infrastructure, and good governance. Each episode features experts like we have today, sharing their insights, perspectives for the challenges we are facing today.
But that the conversation doesn't end with just interviewing the experts here. We're going even further together with Sabah. After the podcast, Sabah and their expert partners will publish key takeaways in newspapers and open up discussions for public input. You, as the audience, will have the chance to share your views, suggest solutions, and be part of the change through online platform and town hall meetings. Good ideas and recommendations will be compiled into a report for submission to government and political leaders for their consideration, adoption, and implementation. Because your voice at the end matters. So stay tuned, get involved, and let's turn voices into action and shaping Sabah's future together. So, who do we have today, Hafiz?
Before I introduce the guest next to me, Adi, I would like to remind all of you, you are watching episode number 5. So if you missed the first 4, please click up here, right top corner here, and go to the playlist and, of course, take a look for the episode, yeah? So, right next to me is SR Sani Kelvin. He is a chartered property surveyor in Kota Kinabalu and vast experience in property in Sabah. And you, Adi?
And the gentleman next to me is IRCC Low, who is also a professional engineer and has his own private practice. So we definitely we have 2 technical people here today. Very exciting to see what their opinions are on infrastructure in Sabah.
Hopefully they're going to be easy with all the jargons, engineering or whatnot.
We don't have any background in any of this. So.
Because the kampung people might be watching this, so you might want them to understand,
we'll
right?
try our very best.
Definitely. So, okay. Hafiz, you first?
All right, general question to kick off the session to both of you. Why Sabah infrastructure in such a state, in general?
Thank you, Hafiz. I think I would like to start off with to give a bit of a background.
Yes, please.
To actually how planning. I think it's very important aspect of actually development that actually planning plays a very important part, whereby from the very start, there has to be what we call like a master plan. So like a blueprint. I think easy to understand, blueprint, right? And so from the blueprint, then they actually look into more details, okay? And I think we are very fortunate because we have been adopting the British system of planning, okay, and we have actually evolved from there. And actually we have what we call a good framework. And I believe in theory, all right, we have it actually, all right. So in general, I would say that actually we have all the ingredients actually to develop the state in a very good way. Yeah. The only thing is that is the implementation side of it. Okay, so I think maybe after I will delve into a bit more details on that. Yeah, thank you.
Sisi?
I think you already opened up the frameworks of this town planning kind of things. I think, yes, we actually do have what I call that kind of framework to build our states. So I think one of the key issues is that I think you have been seen in the medias and news that we are really in a bad set of conditions where roads, electricity, water supplies are all in a mess. So I think there are many problems related to all these things. I think one of the key things would be what they call different departments or different agencies are working in silos. So they are not sharing these informations. You are doing your things, I'm doing my things, and it's not coordinated. And that's why this is one of the issues.
Just picking up what you mentioned, Sunny, because you said we inherited a British system of town planning, but I want to compare it to Kuala Lumpur as well, because I see Kuala Lumpur as the city, it's the city in Malaysia, the city.
Yes.
But you see it's surrounded by winding and writhing highways everywhere going up and down. You even miss one junction, you have to turn for the next 20 minutes, right? That sounds very more American, don't you think? Or can you disagree with me?
Okay, I think I have read about how KL City was planned. Okay, I think they have actually a mixture. Actually, it's not quite just the British way of actually planning. Okay, but unlike Kuala Lumpur, because Kuala Lumpur is actually used to be like a valley and all that, right? So they're quite flat. But unfortunately, Sabah, our topography actually is very different, and our cities are all actually coastal cities. Actually, they're built along the coastline. So, and we have a few major issues from the geographical point of view, which is actually we have like KK, for instance, we have Signal Hill, one reach, and you got this Shangri-La Heights near the airport there. Okay, and so that actually impedes or really limit development potential actually. Yeah, and so therefore they had to actually move quite into the Penampang side and all that. So the key thing is that actually what is it? A lot of it actually, I think what CC has mentioned is that actually there is a lack of coordination. When I started off with a master plan is a blueprint. That means you have a big like a overview, a bird's eye overview of the whole what you want to do actually, or what you want to build. Okay, but unfortunately, because the way the districts are actually governed, they have different district councils, and this unfortunately the district councils probably don't talk to each other, or don't communicate with each other, especially at the border between, say, Kota Kinabalu and Penampang and Tupapa.
So planning is not so integrated between them.
Yes,
I see.
yes.
Okay.
Cici, Adi mentioned about highways, whatnot. We have highways here. We have flyover here. I mean, if you just compare flyover in Semenanjung and Sabah, you can see a vast difference as well. Like the one in front of airport here, it's like a ram. It's like, if you go a certain speed, your car can just fly to the moon. So, as an engineer, what can you say about these differences?
I think the pace of development in Sabah definitely is much lower than in Semenanjung. So I think one of the biggest challenge in Sabah is something called land acquisitions kind of things. Because when you implement projects, the land is not available, and then you just kind of kick off. I think it came out in the paper that says projects belonging to the RMK 10, 11, they're not even kick off because of these land issues or budget issues or budget bursts, So that's why we are still very, very far behind. So regarding these land acquisitions issues, I think we have a very backdated kind of land acquisitions ordinance, because like we're talking about dam, okay, and this has been a long time. We talk about dam for how many years, still we don't get a dam for water supply. So the key issues would be the land compensations, because the land ordinance, acquisition ordinance stated that the compensation has to be at arm's length deal. So this is very outdated, because it is good in that the negotiations ordinance that says your land is required for public purpose, then you have to satisfy. But the question is, why they have to satisfy? Because it benefits so many people. So why not take some benefit from all the people and give this benefit to those people who are affected? Then that is more equitable. I think we need to up that kind of land acquisition ordinance, so that's this process is makes much easier.
Yeah, definitely. I think land itself has always been a long-standing issue here in Sabah. Private ownership of land is very fierce amongst Sabahan people. Like you see families bursting because once they start inheriting it, then there's an issue there. Going to not just the land, but what is built on the land here, and that is usually housing. Most young Sabahans can't afford houses in the city area. I definitely cannot. I have to live with my parents, no choice. Sad admission for a fact. But how can we provide housing that is affordable for the masses, especially Sabah, upcoming generations, a young generation coming up to the professional life?
Okay, when it comes to what do you call it, built properties, especially housing which is actually a necessity for every Sabahan, okay, and I think this is also the dream of the leaders also, that actually everybody should own a house, okay. So the issue is because it relates firstly with land, okay. Land, as you know, geographically, we have this issues of whereby our land is not quite flat, maybe in places like in Tawau or parts of Sandakan is a bit more flatter. So therefore, you can see that actually, by right, their house price there should be actually lower, but the price is still not lower because of the few points lah. Okay, the first thing is that, as you know, that Sabah is actually an island, part of the island of Borneo, right? And so everything that have to come in by either air transport or by sea. Okay, and when you talk about building materials at the moment, even though we are close by to China or from Hong Kong or Shenzhen, but everything still goes through Port Klang to come to to Sabah. And unfortunately, because of the cabotage policy, that actually we have to use a local vessel to once the container is open, you have to use a local vessel to bring, and everything from your nails right up to your cement. I mean, cement probably we have here, but a lot of building materials you have to bring in from Peninsula. And once they reach, only KK port is actually the recognized port actually, and so Sandakan and Tawau are feeder ports, and so they have to use actually transportation, road transportation, and unfortunately you know that our roads are not good, so that actually increases the cost. Therefore, even Sandakan, Tawau, the prices of houses there also are pretty unreachable. In KK, we have another issue because why everybody wants to live close to town is because work, right? The job is all here. I can see, I used to have staff who, stay in Tuaran. They have to come over to the office, okay? And they have to leave, if they want to come by 8 o'clock in the morning, they have to leave their house at 5:30, all right? Just to actually avoid the jam. Okay, and they come, and so and all of them have to have cars. All right, we do not have a good public transportation system, and that is why, because of the demand of the housing nearer to your workplace, that actually costs all the property price, the land price actually gone up, and plus also the building material cost. So I think these are the two major issues that actually makes it, unfortunately, for you guys,
unsustainable for us.
It's like basically now, if I want to look at the scenario, it's like very much like Hong Kong. Hong Kong, the parents actually have to maybe buy the house for you all. Unfortunately. Yeah.
Sisi, would you like to add on?
Actually, this housing price is actually quite complex, actually. So talking about supply and demands, I think we have heard about something called investment guru. Investment guru, and the other one factors is okay, let me go back to the guru first. The guru is that, when there's housing projects being launched, so big timers, they come in, they block 50%. Okay, when you buy 50%, you definitely can get a discount. And then you just book the 50% of that blocks of maybe 500 blocks. I mean, you buy 250. Then you actually lock in, you see, and then you wait for the price to go up, and then you can sell at a profit. And the poor people like every one of us, it's very difficult to get what. Okay, the other one would be the super profits, because apparently this housing development is something called a super profit kind of things. Super profit means you sell one, you actually make one. So now we have another super profit called the oil palm, the golden crops. So these people, they have 500 acres. They have every month, they have money coming in, and they don't know where to spend the money. So they are buying up all properties. And therefore the demand is there, and therefore the price increases. So how to resolve this, I don't have any ideas.
Okay, just your comment, comment on Chief Minister mentioned last year that he said in 2025, Rumah Mesra, they want to at least build 3,000. First, is it ambitious, or if it's yes or no, is it enough?
When it comes to what we call, I think the concept is they're saying is affordable housing. And they have different category. I think for PPR, then you have the this Rumah Mesra, right? Yeah? And now they got this one SMJ housing.
Yes.
Right. So the thing is that basically, I think it is doable actually, provided actually the land is actually provided through government agency or by the government themselves. Then it's actually more doable than if a developer is asked to actually do affordable housing, because developers go in there to do development for profit, right? They also want to make their money, right? Yeah. So it is doable, provided actually the assistance from the government is there. But at the moment, I can see what SMJ has been doing more is in the rural area, whereby they actually people with plots of land, they're actually building those individual houses, I think. Yeah.
Come back to what you mentioned, CC, when it comes to all these investment gurus, right? Trying to predict that they can make something quick out of a new project or turn it around. How would more regulation on it sound? Would it hamper the market, making it less conducive for economic activity, or is it something that is worth considering?
Yeah, I mean, legislative interventions, sometimes work, sometimes doesn't work. So I think they have to do it more with care. I think like in Singapore, where 80% of the housings are developed by the government.
HDB housing.
Yeah, 80%. So, and everyone has a house in Singapore practically. Okay. So I think the government's interventions, I think, should be a good direction.
Yeah, and mentioned about public transport just now. So someone live in Tuaran, have to work in KK, whatnot. Yes, because this would contribute to the high unemployment rate, because people say, oh, in Tuaran there's no work, but there's a lot of work in KK, but I don't have a car. Yeah. Or if I do, I have to work, drive to 4, 5 a.m. they have to go out, so it's totally undoable. So why public transportation is not on top of priority? Because it would solve a lot of things.
Yes, I think basically because of the high capex of this infrastructure, especially what we actually do need we should have some LRT, light rail transit trains and all that. You see, the main issue is because of the major problem is that Sabah, we do not have that capacity, the population actually. All right, and so that actually is, I mean, from an economic sense, actually it's not that viable. Okay, and therefore, although we do need, because of the what do you call it, the more and more people are migrating for work purpose, or they're coming for education and all that, but because of this disparity between this public transportation system, we do have buses and all that, but they are not what they call it, reliable. Okay, and therefore it is actually major setback is, I think, more economical rather than actually we should have it . Yeah.
Okay, I want to go to CC just to expand from this. Yeah. Okay, sure. LRT expensive, all right?
Yeah.
But why don't we look at Jakarta? Jakarta, instead of they only have MRT for the last 2 years. Before this, they're focusing more on BRT, which is using the bus on special lane.
Yeah.
That's relatively cheaper, right? Why don't we do it here? Like we can see like Rapid KL kind of size bus from Tawaran to KK, maybe all the way connectivity to Papar, something like that. You can see that as a LRT, BRT system. Why don't we do that already?
Actually, there was a plan to have a BRT sometime during Batawi time.
Yeah.
Long time ago.
Oh,
There was actually a plan,
Okay.
Okay.
There was
What happened?
okay, actually.
Can you tell us more about it?
I think there was allocated about 1 billion, but somehow it was not spent. We don't know what is behind. I think in terms of public transportations, I think we are very, very far behind. We don't actually have any public transportation system. So what we have is a minibus,
Yeah.
which is giving us a lot of problem also, because they only ply along profitable route, and then they make the things not reliable, So this thing is this situation is getting worse, because you would jam up the roads and so on, because instead of having a stage bus that can take 40 to 60, now you have a minibus that can only take in about 12 to 15. So, and then they only selected profitable routes, and then they are fighting among each other. So I understand there are more than 600 of these what we call minibuses. So that is some sort of a social issue if there is a big bus company coming in. So that one's, I don't know how the government can resolve it. And they have to solve it. This is a problem.
Yeah, you wanna?
If I can add, actually the thing is that one of the major setback, I believe, for the BRT, because I was actually hoping that the BRT would come to a reality. All right, but unfortunately it was not, because I believe it is because they were at first looking at the, what do you call it, the island lane actually,
Okay.
to be to be where the route basically the lane that they're going to use. But unfortunately, I think they have some land issues, some legal issues and all that. So that actually caused them to actually put it on a hold . So there was an allocation actually to look into this, but unfortunately it slowly it fell out of favor among the local authority also. And so now there were also other plans actually. They were using PFI, private funding initiative, to come in to actually build this infrastructure, train infrastructure for KK, because they want to capture the tourist market actually, because we are with tourism coming, so they thought maybe we should be having something like that within the city. So I think there are plans, but I don't know where are they at the moment . Yeah.
One more note on public transport here is because when I was asked why is it that it's the state that it is in, and I was given the answer that all the service providers are private license holders. That's not consolidated under really an agency other than just issuing licenses. So that gives the question, like, does the state have to control public transport? Because we have a Ministry of Public Transport at the federal level. Do we, if we want to proceed with pushing for public transport, would we need to consolidate even more, so like concerted effort at the state level, or if in terms of financing that's just not, is that tenable at all?
Actually, there is a local Sabah public transport department.
Okay.
Okay, but then are they, how
But
much, what's the
even JK also
prerogative?
doesn't know it exists.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know what to say.
Something new to me.
Yes, I think the office is somewhere across the Tanjung Aru Plaza.
Oh,
wow.
Okay.
I don't know whether they move or not. I've been there, the office.
Okay, all right.
Okay. I would like to go back a little bit to town planning. Another thing that we can compare, I mean, even several cities in Semenanjung, like Johor, Penang, let's not compare with KL. One we can see that very apparent is they have zoning, a clear zoning. In KKIP is the only zone that I can see. But apart from that, you know, in some area in KL, they already allocated a plot of land for petrol station, school, housing. So you can foresee the future. Like if you are interested in that particular area, or you want to invest there, oh, I know infrastructure is going to be up in 5 years, so I'm definitely going to put money on there. But in Sabah, everything is in gray area. No one knows what will happen next year even.
Well, you have actually opened like a can of worms.
Let's see the worms.
I believe, yes, we do have what we call structural plan, we got local plans and all that. But I think one of the major problem, from my own observation, being a chartered property surveyor, because I do valuation, and one of the key things that we have to actually look into is planning. Okay, what is the planning? Because that will actually determine the marketability of the land. And so when we look at it, the problem is that all these plans are in draft form. So it could mean that actually, you know, nothing is fixed. You know, tomorrow when the planning authority they decide to, you know, change it, they can change it.
Okay.
So it's very, very what do you call it? You don't have any certainty. So as an investor, if I come in, I don't know. You know, today is probably red in color. Tomorrow it can be green or blue. Yeah. So that is, I think, the main issue.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you see this the same way as an engineer?
Yeah, this is not gazette. You know, we have local plans, we
Yes.
have structural plans. Yeah, we have all those plans, but then it's not gazetted. So gazetting means you have to compensate the money to the landowner. So maybe this is also due to, I don't know, I mean, it's a financial constraint of the state government.
Yeah.
The government.
Yeah, given all of this, right? When you talk about not just town planning, but how town planning fits in the broader context of Malaysia, right? I want to bring it to the talk of KK International Airport, because the discussion is hot around moving it to Kimanis, yes, which is definitely very far, very hard to get to. If let's say I'm coming from KK, I have to drive all the way to Kimanis just to pick up my flight there. What are your thoughts on the moving of the airport to? Because infrastructure to get there is already one thing. What are your thoughts?
Okay, my initial thought when they were talking about actually moving the airport to Kimanis is that, wow, that means it's something like, we are going to KLIA, I mean, you're going to take at least 3 to 4 hours. I mean, if people from KK have to take, that amount of time, imagine those people from Udat and all that who wants to come and take a flight. They may have to stay overnight, so more expenses and all that. So the thing is that in order to make it viable, definitely a fast rail actually, like what do you call it, a high-speed rail would actually be needed. So to me, in fact, that location also, in my mind, is also not that suitable, although it's very flat land. I think it's Kampong Madahan area. Okay, but basically it's very close to the SOGT, which is Sabah Oil and Gas Terminal, right? Which is a fire hazard also, you know. So, and these are some, what do you call it? I mean, from a military point of view, also this is can be some, what do you call it? Hazard, okay, or targets. Okay, so to me, I think KKIA is still able to, you know, cater. So I think the idea now, I think finally they have actually got their act together by actually now saying, okay, we expand, we actually spend more money to make this to be able to cater more people, yeah. More passengers.
CC, from an engineering standpoint, building an airport is not very easy, right? It's an entire complex. You have to develop like places for the staff, runway, maintenance. I mean, what are your thoughts on, if Kiman is right, what's the undertaking that's expected?
Actually, when you talk about engineering problem, it is not a problem.
It's not a problem.
Can be managed. Yeah, as far as engineering problem is concerned, I mean, it can be resolved.
Okay.
All right, I just want to go to CC again. Like, as an engineer, how do you see the role of, because we're in the IR 4.0 now, people talking about AI more than ever now. How do you see the adoptions of technology as an engineer to help you guys, not just you guys, but to, you know, maybe to reduce the cost of building these infrastructures?
This is a transition period. Actually, it's, if we talk about, you know, IR4, Internet of Things, big data, and all these things, actually, it will take times, and actually the cost is not cheap to implement all these things. Like in our professions, you know, we need to do something called the BIM, Building Information Modeling. You know, you need to do something called a Revit kind of programs to put this thing in place, and then you know, and everybody is using the same platform, and that's the benefit is tremendous. But of course, first thing you need to do the training. So at the moment, the transition period is that the moment you train, you are being pinched away, the staff. So, but this, of course, is going to happen, but it's bound to happen. So we still need to train people. But then this takes time, sir. Takes time.
Would you like to add?
I mean, from a planning point of view, yes. I think since now we are all moving into digital, and then especially when it comes to planning, it relates to maps. So I think one of the key thing that actually we should be looking into, which I think is not you know, cost prohibitive, is actually to look into geospatial data. Because one of the things is that at the moment we see, like, you know, for instance, today we see one contractor come to the road and then they, you know, they dig. So today is the Jabatan Air contractor comes and dig. All right. So then after that he patches. Then 2 weeks later come the SCSB contractor to come dig over the same thing. So maybe I mean, things very simply is that basically we should have what we call utility mapping, okay, which I think our land survey is already starting this already. Okay, they have actually got quite a few surveyors being trained to do all this. And so what's happening is that actually they could easily map out all the utilities, but the newer developments, we should have what we call like utility reserve. So these are actually away from the road. Actually, they are reserved, not on the road. Because if it is on the road, means, you know, it's going to cost jam. Yeah. It's going to cost you, you know, more money to what. But once you have the utility, what do you call it, reserve, it's like a servicing reserve, so everybody can go in and, you know, easily what. So I think all this can be easily mapped out, and I think this will be actually, in a way, will save on actually a lot of costs in the long run.
Yeah.
Probably I'm too young to understand why this is the case, but I remember years ago I was at Beaufort and I took the train, the old colonial train, all the way up to Padas. It was whitewater rafting with friends. And so I was thinking, because we have a line over here in Putatan, right? How do we, I mean, the British left us the railway here. How feasible is it to restart it, to make it more commercially viable for regular people to come, in and out of town using that train system?
Okay, I think I can take the, if you have been to Hong Kong, you see they have actually one, like a train, it's called, they phrase it as Teng Teng lah, okay? So it is actually more than 100 years old tram, like a tram, right? That actually runs like one line only, going up and down. And I believe previously, this rail line actually passed through the city actually, but it was taken out.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know what was the reason. But actually, if it would still been there, actually it would actually be able to use this as one of the tourist attraction. Maybe like like a tram, like you go to Australia, you for actually you can do a circuit around the city. So for city tours and all that.
PC, what do you think? Is it
okay? Actually, as you mentioned, actually the rail actually reaches the port, the old port. Yeah, later on it was taken out. Actually, all this while, I mean, when you talk about train service, commuter trains normally will not make profit. It's only on freight. Only on the freight. So the only commuter train that make profits is in Hong Kong. Hong Kong, they have the big fellows, the conglomerates. They all have something called what they call transport-oriented development. So that means when the railway pass through the station there, up there, all the commercials and the residential. So only that they can make money. So and because land in Hong Kong is so expensive, so therefore they can capitalize on all these things. So that's why only Hong Kong is the only place that public transportation is making money.
Okay.
All other areas, no. Actually, it's a service to the community, and you only make money from the freight. So freight, I mean now, Tenem, what do we have? Don't have anything. Commercial, I mean agriculture products now they use car, and then the train service also not reliable. So it's a very sad story.
So these train tracks aren't viable for freight, is it? Or just commuter?
It's not reliable, so people don't use it. If it's reliable, people can use it. I mean, you can see so many kind of what I call fallout, a landslide and all these things that they have to stop. You can see from video that people using the trolley.
Push themselves up.
All right, we've been talking a lot about development from housing and then now train. But in both of you, because you are very experienced in your respective industry, what are some of the biggest misconceptions about Sabah development the biggest one that you can see in your own eyes?
I believe that, like what I mentioned just now with regards to the efforts from like agencies like the Lands and Survey, okay, which have actually done digitizing a lot of the maps and all that, and they actually been collecting all this data, okay, and I think the effort from the what do you call it, the State Secretary himself actually, who's a fellow surveyor, okay, Surveyor Dato' Safa Untung, okay, has tried to actually coordinate to get all the different agencies and departments to actually bring all their data together, okay, but it seems like it's a very momentous task, okay. It's not very easy to integrate all this data because the problem is these data have not been updated for so long. Okay, but I believe that is actually the right way forward lah. Okay, to towards actually providing better information towards development lah. Okay, but of course I would say that actually Sabah definitely has lots of potential in terms of development, especially when we look at all these new plans, especially because we have all this oil and gas, all right, and oil and gas, and so which means actually we will have a new sea transport infrastructure like ports, you know, to be built and all that. So I think in that sense they're starting to get their what do you call it, the right way towards bringing the development, because at the moment the ports are not big enough and they're not able to cater those large vessels, so that actually it's not actually attracting a lot of cargo coming here. Okay, but we see that the potential is there lah. Okay, and so I think that is one of the good things in terms of development, but it's not actually very visible to the public lah. Yeah.
Sisi?
Okay, I just crossed my mind that I think recently the Ministry of Ministry of Industrial Development, they announced 3 what they call industrial development plans, industrial parks. So I think I happen to have courtesy call to one of them. So actually, this is what they are talking about. They actually want to control not only the developments but also the supply of waters, electricity, and power. So but because how things operate in Sabah is that they're protecting their own territories, so they don't let you do power, they don't let you do waters, they don't let you do everything. So I don't know how the government can overcome this thing. So I mean the industrial park is good. It's definitely is a good idea, but then I think there's a negative perception from the public. So, oh, you are happy, man. You get problem. You got no water. You got no power. You got no water. Yeah, your road is so bad. Everything. So I think that is one of the negative. But if you can overcome that, you can supply enough of waters, electricity, and good public transportation, road networks, and then it's supposed to be good things. So I think the logistic parts is very, very crucial for industrial developments. You know, like roads, rails, seaports, and all these things. Warehousing, processing area, cold room. We need all these things to develop. You know.
Correct.
So I think we should focus on that directions.
Yeah. So maybe just to add on that, it's actually basically trying to make Sabah from just actually an agriculture-based what do you call it, state to actually manufacturing.
Industrializing.
Yeah.
On that note, maybe the final one from me, because now we've talked about challenges, limitations, potential, even perceptions, right? So what about trends that you can see as maybe KK develops or even Sabah towns develop? Like, what do you feel are trends that are happening now? Because slow as it is, towns still develop nonetheless. So what kind of trends are you seeing that is happening now? Like, for example, we see online, you can pay your parking ticket on your phone now. For example, stuff like that. What trends do you see are becoming more prevalent among Sabah towns, and what kind of other trends do you foresee in the future for either one of you?
Complaining.
Okay, Sunny again.
Engineers fixing problems.
I think I mean, there are quite a few trends. Actually, one of the things is that, as you may see, that actually a lot of our buildings are actually getting older already. They are almost what we call in what do you call it, economic terms, they are actually coming to the end of their lifespan now. Okay, so we have buildings like about 50 years. So I think there are efforts now looking. The trend is actually we should be looking towards urban regeneration. I know of one project. I think they're looking very seriously. It's in Sinsuran, actually to rejuvenate Sinsuran, to be basically make it more commercial, like hotels and all that, because it's right in the quite in the city, right? So urban regeneration is I think the next trend lah, that we KK will be actually experiencing lah. You know, I also manage a few of these older buildings, and we are also looking at the legislation, because basically we have a slightly different what they call it. We don't use Strata Management Act here. We have what we call Land Subsidy Title Enactment. It's actually a very archaic legislation, 1972. Okay, but it's going through now the updating, and one of the key things is actually talking about the percentage. Last time they need 100% of consent before they can do redevelopment. But now they're going to reduce that threshold, and I think Peninsula, they have this new act coming in, Urban Renewal Act also, all right, which is actually trying to bring down that threshold based on certain criteria. So I think that if Sabah is going to actually pass that new land subsidy title, okay, then I believe that actually you can see this happening lah. Yeah.
Okay. You want to add on that, Sisi?
I'll let the expert talk about.
Okay. All right. With whatever minutes that we have left, to both of you, Sisi and Sunny, engineer, surveyor, what is your hope and aspiration for Sabah in coming future?
Maybe you lah, Sisi, this time.
Okay.
Okay, actually this is a very broad subject. Actually this morning I woke up and I just scribble on some things. So I have listed down here something called, the master plan studies. So I think like Sarawak, they did all the study of the dam study, So do fisheries dam study means, you study your catchment area, you study whatever inside that catchment area, whether this is minerals lah, dimension stones lah, quarries lah, or any sort of things, or even sensitive kind of environmental issues, If this thing cannot be mitigated, at least you know the problem exists, and when the time is right for you to do some mitigations, then you can still use it. Because dam site is very difficult to come by. Because you need to have very big catchment area, you need to have a very narrow gorge so that you can build a dam onto it. So it will be more economical, so to speak. So we should be doing a lot of this kind of study. At least we know what are the potential resources that we have in terms of hydro, in terms of waters, in terms of quarries, minerals, or environmentally sensitive issues like endangered species of certain micro snail, things like that. It can be done. But we are not doing that. So we do not know our potential. What do we have? How much of water we have? How much of minerals we have? How much of gold deposits or whatever deposit that we have? At least you know this thing. You plan ahead. Then you can plan it so that you do not wait until settler comes in and already build a township there, and then you cannot do anything to remove them. So I think this planning is a very, very important thing to do for our governments moving forward.
All right, Sunny, last one from you.
Maybe you can repeat that again.
Hope and aspiration for Sabah.
Hope and aspiration. Okay. I think as being, I've been born and bred here in Sabah. I always see Sabah, has all the potential, because basically we are actually very blessed. Our land is very blessed land, I would say, because we have not only fertile land that we got able to plant many different type of crops, but we also have natural resources, okay, and we are so blessed with almost like Hawaii, because within 20 minutes you're in the island, and then within 1.5 hours in the mountains. So to me, I think what I aspire, especially for my next generation lah. Okay, is that actually we have a more, what do you call it, a well-rounded, holistic approach development. Like maybe something like a TOD, transit-oriented development, that can actually connect. I think that the thing is connectivity and the accessibility lah. So once if all these are in place, it actually makes this place, one of the best place to live in. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Adi, we talk from housing, train, infrastructure, airport. What your takeaway from this?
I think I have to say that there's a lot to be done here, but I feel that in terms of responsibility, that I feel state planning is important here. Now, you can make the argument that no, things should be like public transport should be privatized. It should be left to private industry. But you also have to make the argument that if it's the state handling it, there's more oversight, there's more ideas that more incentive to take care of it. So there's like ongoing argument. How are we going to develop the infrastructure? I mean, not just infrastructure itself physically, but the organizational side of it as well. How do we organize ourselves to ensure that town planning is effective and equitable for everyone? So that is my key takeaways, that we need to innovate organizational practices as well.
Yes.
Yeah, make no mistake, today's episode is just barely scratching the surface. So, you want to stay tuned for the next episode because we're going to talk about good infrastructure as well. But my takeaways is that it's always about funding and the conflicting legislation that we have about land and what are all these laws that are conflicting between federal and state also. And I think, Adi, if our audience want to catch us on different platforms, where should they go?
Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to be watching this on YouTube, but we're also available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you want short form content, we're also available on Instagram and TikTok. So that is it from us at Competition Council. This is episode 5 of our collaboration with Sabah, which is the project called Voices to Action. So what's up next, Hafiz?
Before that, thank you to American Green Corner. Thank you to Sabah State Library. Up next, we're talking about good infrastructure as well, but maybe more focused on water issue in Sabah. Are you interested? Of course you do, right?
So stay tuned for that.